Would you please stand and join me in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Rochelle, would you like to do roll call?
Councilmember Larson,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Present.
Councilmember Dan Hahn,
Present.
Council President Cox. Present. Councilmember Stubble.
Present.
Councilmember Josh Hahn.
Present.
Mayor Richardson.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna need a motion to approve the agenda, but we have to take off the executive session. Can I get a motion?
So moved as amended.
Second.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Cox to approve the agenda as amended. I'll call for the question. Councilman Jehan?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. First on our agenda is a public hearing, ordinance 2024-6. I'm gonna open the public hearing at 6:02. Hearing's open. Michelle? Did you want to read that?
Ordinance 20-24-6, an ordinance fixing and determining the mill levy necessary to be levied to raise sufficient money by general tax to meet the current expenses of the city of Lander for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024. Section 1, a mill levy of 8 mills, no more, no less, is hereby fixed, determined, and declared necessary to raise sufficient money by general tax upon the property within the city of Lander, Fremont County, Wyoming, to meet the current expenses of said city of Lander for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage, approval, and publication as required by law and the ordinances of the city of Lander. Public hearing date, March 12th, 2024. Passed on first reading, passed on second reading, passed on third reading, which are blank. Passed, adopted, and approved by the mayor and city council on, if it goes through as scheduled, that would be the 14th day of May, 2024.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the council? This is same as it's always been for years. This is basic housekeeping. So, any public comment? Any public comment? Oh. Okay. Okay, we'll close the public hearing then at 6:04. Close. We're at communication from the floor. This is your gig, I think. Yep. State your name and your address.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Karen Wetzel from Lander. I want to just quickly speak about a couple of things. First, and really, really important, is I would like you to know that the city of Lander was discussed at our convention on Saturday, where there was a resolution to remove the city of Lander. Actually, it says, now therefore be it resolved that the county of Fremont will split into 2 counties following state Senate district lines in an effort to assist the city of Lander with achieving neutrality through financial measures. And this is because the city of Lander has expressed via resolution a desire to be carbon neutral. That part didn't pass. We got that taken out, thankfully, because a lot of people in Lander want to be in Fremont County, but they did resolve that whereas northern Fremont County has large deposits of oil and gas currently being extracted, the city of Lander should work towards their carbon neutral position without the benefit of tax dollars derived from Wyoming industries that are carbon dependent. That was just something that happened in our convention. Secondly, I wanted to bring up the drag show that will be at the Art Center on March 23rd with children aged 13 and up. I'd just like to know whether, will their parents be present in attendance? Because in my opinion, drag shows are adult entertainment. And I'd like to state that maybe this council should follow Montana and outlaw drag performances in public schools, public libraries, or anywhere with a child under the age of 18 years old. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'll state your name and your address.
Brett Johnson, Riverton, Wyoming. Carol Harper, Riverton. Becky Kenyon, Riverton. We just wanted to come and, if I may hand you out something here. We're the new 501c3 in Fremont County for law enforcement purposes. And we just wanted to announce that we are up, running, and collecting money. We wanted to announce the ball gowns and badges formal event that we're going to have May 4th at the Shandell Center by the airport in Riverton. All of the money raised by this group, every single penny, goes towards any agency in Fremont County law enforcement for equipment. It's going to be very easy to obtain this money if a department needs something quickly, stuff like that. So we just wanted to come and announce that we're here, we're making money. We're, sorry, one more thing, if I can give this to somebody, if you can post this somewhere, that's the event. Only got one of those, sorry. Somebody forgot to make copies for me today. But, and we just like to, I mean, not to be a downer, but, law enforcement's in a real bad place right now in America, and Fremont County is seeing a lot of it. To me, it feels like it's on its way down. We've lost one in Sheridan, one in Thermopolis has been shot. It's getting closer and closer to home. So we just want to make sure that we can support these people that keep us safe every day. I don't know if they have anything to say.
Just like it is on the flyer, anybody can go donate on the website, www.fclef.org. And just go to the donate page. We have like the ball gowns and badges. You can get tickets on there. Corporate tables are going fast. So if you want a corporate table, and then tickets are also, you can get your tickets on there too. This March, we're having a we're trying to raise $1,700 before the 17th. So we have little monthly campaigns for the community if they want to donate, and we hope that they do.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll move on to mayor and council updates. Councilman Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything tonight.
Okay. Councilman White.
Thank you, Mayor. Senior Center is actually going to meet tomorrow because today they were before the county commissioners asking to have a senior center district be put on the primary ballot as a funding stream for them. So I don't have anything to report yet for them for the next meeting. Planning Commission met last week and again is continuing some in-depth wrestling with a really challenging question. They continue to do an amazing job. Thank you.
Councilman Hahn.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Street Department, for filling potholes. That is awesome. And also thank the Police Department for hopefully slowing some of these people down. They're really moving on the side streets. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cox.
Potholes and speed traps. Just an update by way of, it's something that will be on the agenda later. We've done some work and some conversation with the school district, and I think at this time, things are just going to go on as usual, and we can address issues with park usage or school property leasing during our lease update and agreement, not to interfere with any of the new rules or any of that sort of thing. Really good conversation with the superintendent, the mayor, and the chair of the school board. So I think reasonable people making good solutions, and so just by way of an update. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may do first a question, Councilwoman Cox, when is that lease agreement with the schoolhouse?
I believe June 30th then, is it the end? Yeah, so the fiscal,
Is it annual? Is that how we,
it hasn't been annual, no. Yeah,
4 years? Great, thank you.
yeah.
Thanks. Mr. Mayor, just a few quick updates for me, really an update and some thank yous. I attended the Conservation District meeting last week, and they didn't discuss business that was relevant to the city, some projects out around Split Rock that they're working on, and talking with the new Fish and Wildlife Service staffer, but they did express continued gratitude for city partnership and help with the unimpairment or the delisting of the segment of river through the city. It's something for us all to be very proud about, and the amount of data the Conservation District has been collecting that could lead to that that decision, and of course, then all the conversations they're having with landowners and stakeholders throughout the watershed to clean up the water that comes into town have been just remarkable. So something for us to continue to celebrate. I want to thank staff for setting up the open house last week, and Mayor, yourself as well. It was really well attended for the hour and a half, 2 hours or so that I was there. Lots of conversations were had. It's great to see other council members there for that degree of conversation and transparency about our activities. So really heartening to see how successful those have been. And I took note too that we had a few county commissioners join, and that they reported very productive conversations there. So they were able to meet with constituents at the same time. So much success. And lastly, I've had a few conversations with some businesses around town interested in the next round of lift applications and questions about, are they reopen? And then, you know, what's the deadline? So high interest for submitting applications for that round, which is good to see. And Mayor, that's what I have.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Councilman Hunt.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Oh, I'm gonna jump back here to Councilman Cox. Forgot something.
Something rather important, and I apologize.
Always important.
Thank you for coming back to me. On April 4th, we will be hosting a community resource meeting at the Lander Community Center. This is as a response to limited resources and services that are available for our youth in our community, specifically as it relates to mental health, substance abuse, and any other parent resources, and really trying to get information, quality information, timely to our community, as well as our community, including our parents and our students. So I sort of serve a dual purpose because I act as the community project manager for Project Aware through the school district, then also through the city as a council member, but really seeing some barriers and services and resources and some troubling trends that are happening currently. I'm sure you've seen some media coverage in reference to that. So that will be on the 4th at the community center. It will be from 1 to 4. It's a community resource meeting, and what it is going to be is the focus will be taking down the silos and starting to work together to a solution for our entire county, not just, you know, one agency versus another, but really leveraging all of the resources that we have so we can get to solving some of these problems.
Thank you. That was important. All right. I just want to mention that the potholes are getting filled, Hunter. So thanks. Appreciate that. I didn't know that. Oh, I don't know that I could make it snow and cause potholes, and it's all I did this all on my own. So give you the heads up. You can blame me for that. But no, it's good things are happening in Lander. You know, can't wait to start. We got the Lincoln Street project out for bid and we'll have a walkthrough here pretty quick on that. So good things are moving forward. So like I said, a lot of work you'll see in the next few years in construction, fixing our streets and our infrastructure. So like I said, just put a plug out there for the guys that are helping me with the mental health and suicide prevention program we're putting on July 19th and 20th at City Park. So that's been a great attended event. And hopefully we get the schools more involved this year. Because with everything going on in schools, I think we need to step that up a little bit for those younger kids. So that'd be great. And I've talked to Melinda already about it, so. But like I said, things are happening, good things are happening, and I'm gonna move on because I could talk all night, but I don't want you to be here all night. We'll move to staff reports. I'm gonna start at this end, Rachel, today, so we don't surprise the captain right off the bat.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Let's see. Adam?
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
I don't have anything either.
I'm not gonna say that.
That.
Good news, the Table Mountain Living Community was awarded $325,000 from the MOVE today. That was at the commissioners meeting. Like Missy mentioned, the both Riverton and Lander were approved, a resolution was approved for them to form a senior citizens district. And what that does, it allows them to go on the ballot in the primary. See if I can get, I had to ask Jane how to do this. They're going to be on the ballot at the primary to form the district. And then during the general election, board members will be on your ballot to vote to that board. And then they can start making decisions should that ballot pass. It's a way that they can get money, a mill levy through your property taxes instead of a different sales tax. Let's see, there is in April 8th through 12th, there is a federal grant training in Riverton, and it's put on by Loomis. And as far as I know, we have 4 people from the city going, and that will help us learn a lot more of the ins and outs and all the requirements for both federal and state grants. That's all I have, unless you have questions. Oh, and it's free, Sherry. Sherry's whispering in my ear.
Yeah, that's free.
Free grant training.
We like that part. Okay, no questions. Hunter.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You get Lance's ugly stepbrother here today, so I'll do my best. Like you mentioned, there is a lot of construction that's about to start kicking off. We will do a pre-bid walk tomorrow for Lincoln Street project and have a better gauge on price and feasibility and schedule with that pre-bid. And then once those bids come in, we'll have a lot better idea on that. Ellis Tank project is kicked off again this week too. So you'll see work out there on Six Canyon Highway where they're doing work over there. And we're trying to get that project up and running as well too. We are also getting plans together to fix all of the parts where the streets broke with water breaks over the course of the winter too. So there's going to be a lot of equipment digging lots of holes all over town this summer. There is a large state gymnastics tournament coming to town, March 22nd, 23rd, of 400 athletes coming to town too. So heads up to folks in town on that one as well. Go buy your groceries ahead of time before that one. And then the last thing is just reminding folks that the frost depth is still 3 to 4 feet deep. As warm as it has been, people think that it's time to shut it down. Popping manholes, we're still seeing deep frost depths too. So we'd like to continue to run water through March if possible. And that's all I have unless there are any questions.
Questions?
I do have
Yeah.
a question.
Councilwoman Cox?
So I'm really happy to hear of this gymnastics, although we've known about it because there was a process earlier that we were informed. However, what is our, and maybe this isn't the proper place, but the connection with our chamber to generate some excitement about the amount of people that will be coming in. We have this large event, we have soccer, we have other large events, soccer tournaments, we had the 1A, 2A basketball tournament. And there were a lot of businesses closed. And I just don't know, I sort of feel like it's an opportunity to optimize what we're doing in Lander. And I see it differently from being a business owner as well as being a participant in the community. But
Do we have does somebody have input from the chamber on how what's happening there?
That was a question I was gonna ask at the meeting tomorrow, seeing what we need to do, what needs to be covered and just make the community aware of it.
Councilman
If I
White?
may, I would also note that's something that LEADER could get involved with. That had been an initiative early on for that. And as they continue to look for ways to serve the community, that could be something that they also take an active role in.
So maybe something within our MOU that we would want them to do or have, doesn't need to be formal. That they would do it instead of the chamber, or that would be something we would need. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Captain?
I belong at the other end of the table because I have nothing of note unless anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you. Kelly? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you. Captain, have you been contacted by the staff of this new nonprofit that are fundraising for law enforcement agencies? Have you had conversations with them?
I actually have not. I've read about them a couple of times. Tonight was the first time I've ever even seen them in person, so.
Thank you. It's helpful to know.
Just a comment.
Comment, go ahead.
They're, so Brett Johnson is a former law enforcement and the majority of their board. I noticed Tammy Marshall worked for RPD. I believe, Brett he was with the sheriff's department as well as the Riverton Police Department, I believe. Most of these folks have been in the community for quite some time.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. Moving on to the consent agenda. Approval of February 13th, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes. Approval of February 20th, 2024 work session minutes. C, approval of February 27th, 2024 work session minutes and approval of bills and claims. Can I get a motion and a second?
Move to approve the consent agenda?
I get a second.
You're on it.
Second?
A motion by Councilman Cox, and by Councilman White to approve the consent agenda. Any questions, concerns? Concerns, then I'll call for the question. Councilman Jehan?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on to unfinished business action items. Approve third reading ordinance 24-1, rezoning lot 2 in the 700 block of Garfield from R5 residential to C commercial district. Can I get a motion to approve in a second? Then I'll. go to
So moved.
Regine.
Second?
A motion by Councilman Hahn, second by Councilman White. Regine?
This is the third and final reading, and I haven't heard of any changes we need to make, so unless you have questions, call for the vote.
Okay, none? Call for a vote. Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Moving on to item B, approve third reading of ordinance 24-3, annexation and zoning portion of lot 710 at Robbie's View. I get a motion in a second.
Mayor, I move approval for third reading ordinance 2024-3.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilman Stubble, second by Councilman White to approve ordinance 24-3. Any questions? None? Call for the vote. Councilman Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on to item C. Approve second reading of an ordinance 23-4. Revised vacant partial alley location in the J.I. addition, City of Lander, Fremont County, Wyoming, adjacent to 473 South 4th Street, included sequential recording in the Fremont County, Wyoming, number 780 on April 30th, 1886 plat Cabinet 4, page 133, information. Okay, a motion, a second. and then we'll-
So moved.
The motion.
Second.
That motion by Councilman White, second by Councilwoman Cox. Approve ordinance 2023-4. Any questions?
Mayor, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. It's more of a clerical one. Rochelle, we were going to approve this initially in 2023, so it's so numbered, ordinance 2023-4. But because we have started to take action on it only in 2024, we need to renumber it.
It's my belief we do not. We're just adding that it was also recorded in Fremont County. Other than that, everything is exactly the same as it was in the original one.
Right.
And I believe I conferred with the city attorney about whether or not we have to do a completely new ordinance or whether we could revise the old one as we're just adding the Fremont County
So the
filing
numbering-
stamp.
The numbering is fine for it to reflect the plumbing. Thank you.
And so then in the book, there will be the original one and the revised one will go right behind it.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Good question.
Yes.
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 So this is in the same format that it came before council previously on the first reading. Again, it just updates a few sections that have been previously updated. It sets the bonds and the amounts that council discussed at a work session. I haven't heard any changes there. I know there was good comment about council meetings and special meetings and things of that nature. And I do know that Attorney Phillips was going to look into the special meetings, which is certainly something that we can do and look at updating. The comment was well taken that if you're going to change some of them, you might as well take a look at all of them, which we can certainly do. And I know that Attorney Phillips will be in touch about that, but we will have to bring that as another ordinance if we want to update any other sections that aren't currently. Any comments or things that are currently under revision that council would like to discuss wording or changes, or please let me know.
Move to approve.
Second.
Yes.
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 Similar to the previous proposed ordinance, this ordinance also comes before council in the very similar fashion and language that it did previously. I did work with council member Stubble. She graciously helped revise the wording to 226 so that the flow is a little more understandable. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer them, or comments or things they would like to see changed.
So moved.
Second.
One, second by Councilman Watson. Reading on ordinance. Put that by.
Yes.
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 Yes. Move to untable that.
Second.
Second.
Motion, Council Martin. By Councilman J. Vaughn.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Which one's up, please? The next one.
Next one down. Okay, item G, approve resolution 1321, setting rules for city clerk according to the city ordinance 2023-3. Make a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, I'll just note, I like the changes we've made to this and with Chief Peter's insight as well into noise. I've been surprised to not hear any feedback from anybody about these rules. I thought we would, but maybe we hit the spot on.
Sweet spot there, yeah.
Great.
Yes.
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 Item H, approve resolution 1320.
Move to approve.
I'll second that. We're queued up.
J. Vaughn, second. Councilman Stoll. To approve resolution 1322. Questions, discussion? Call the question, Councilman Martin.
Yes.
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 1323, city rules.
Mayor, I move approval of resolution 13, where are we, 23.
I'll second.
Maybe I missed something. Did they fix or figure out the alcohol situation in North Park? Did I miss that earlier?
I don't know that you missed it, but it's basically just going to be business as usual. We will address this, the school district will come back with any suggested changes that they may have within our lease as we renew that.
Cool.
And it could be a later discussion, but at this time, they're not, we're not changing those rules as it applies to these resolutions.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. One thing to note on resolution 1323, actually north is struck out from the title and also in the now therefore be it resolved portion. So
That's right.
we might want to actually,
So Mayor, if I may. The way these are crafted now, because we talked about taking North Park out, you now have the option of doing a couple things. You could approve 1323 unamended, or you could amend 1323 to remove North Park as you see it in front of you. And then 1327, the next agenda item, would address all of the school properties, including North Park, soccer fields, baseball fields, under lease with Fremont County School District number 1. And that includes, 1327 includes the discussions you had at the work session about not at the skate park, not at the bike park, not at, so you as a council have the option to approve 1323 as written, and then 1327 wouldn't matter. Or you can amend North Park out of 1323 and then address your wishes for 1327. Does that make sense?
I would actually like to make a motion if I may, sir. I would move to amend resolution 1323 to remove North Park.
Second that.
I do have some questions just of clarification due to the movement away from the additional discussion about alcohol use. 1327 goes into pretty good detail about some options. So you're suggesting that with the amendment to 1323 to remove north, that would then go into 1327? And then we could amend 1327? Right. But 1327 was added, is that correct? As a result of our conversation?
Right, so 1327 addresses
Mhm.
all the school-owned, city-maintained park facilities.
Mhm. Okay.
Yes.
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 So that was voting on the motion or the amendment. So now you have to vote on them.
So Mayor, I move approval of resolution 1323 as amended.
Second?
Yes.
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 Are you gonna go ahead? Yeah. Just like to discuss some amendments to this prior. Do we need a motion first? Okay. Yeah, I move to approve resolution 1327, North Park softball fields revised rules in accordance with city ordinance 2023-3.
Second.
Well, just by way of discussion, one in the title 1327, it says soccer fields and baseball fields, but does not include softball fields, which there might be some issue with that. And then the other concern that I have is that I would like this 1327 to be and to read the same as resolution 1321, 1322, and 1323.
Mayor, may I ask a question? So Councilwoman Cox, are you advocating that we amend out the language that's currently in this one for alcohol use restrictions, number 3,
That's correct. I would.
pending future
Yeah.
conversation?
So I guess I should make that. I would like to, so I would like the 1327 to, the resolution to be the same reading as the prior resolutions that were just voted on, so that we would amend out number 3 with alcohol use. There's options within there that we would just eliminate that reading of option 1A, all of the red writing. So I would, go ahead, yep.
So does that mean you want the entirety of these areas alcohol-free at all times? Is that what you're,
No, I would want it to read the exact same as all the other, where it says alcohol consumption is permitted. So if you, yeah, I don't know why we don't want to change the rules for the parks at this time.
So if I may, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Councilwoman, you would like to reject all of the red changes for
Mhm.
number 3, and it would read as such: alcohol use, alcohol consumption is permitted in these parks under the following conditions. The use of alcohol in glass containers is prohibited. Personal alcohol use is permitted during operating hours with no open container permit required, and the sale of alcohol is permitted without first obtaining a malt beverage or catering permit from the city of Lander. End of section 4. That's how the
Yeah, I'm
others
just
read.
double checking my prior one.
Mayor, may I? Councilwoman Cox, I'm interrupting you checking that, but I'll ask, I think our intention, what I understood was at some point in conversation with the school district to restrict alcohol in some locations and or in these parks entirely. This is an attempt to meet that intention. Am I understanding from you that in the conversation with the school district, that is still their intention, but they don't want to do it yet, that more conversation is needed?
So it is not the city's intention to change our rules. My perception is it is not our rules to change. It's not our intention to change our rules. If the school intends as part of their lease authority to have alcohol use prohibited, that they would be responsible for that signage. And that we will not be involved in that, that they will, that would be potentially a change to an ordinance, just as our current ordinance reads with alcohol consumption within our parks. And so there would be a different conversation. It would not be covered within this resolution is how I understand it.
Got it. So
Yeah.
putting the onus of whatever restrictions or limitations on the body that's asking
Property
for it rather
owner.
than us.
That's right.
Got it. Okay.
It just cleans it up, keeps the rules all the same for the city and all the parks that we participate in. And then the school board will review their signage, which is what they discussed at their school board meeting. And if they want to post that signage, then they can do that. And then we will have to readdress it through ordinance because our ordinance currently addresses alcohol use is permitted at city parks, not city park. And so we would need to address that ordinance later, but not through resolution.
Mayor, I'm following, if I may. Thank you. I think I'm following. But I do have concerns if this resolution then is contradictory to the lease agreements. That could be confusing for the public.
It's not.
If our rules would say alcohol is permitted, but we then amend the lease where they can regulate the locations for alcohol.
Currently, the lease is silent on use of alcohol, but that is what the school board and the city would like to discuss at the re-upping of the lease in June.
Okay.
So it's wide open. It's not contrary to anything that's been enacted to date.
Right, it could be contradictory if we don't change our rules to be in parallel with whatever agreement we make through the lease
Correct.
in the future.
So if the negotiations between the city and the school district determine that there is a change in the alcohol use, then the school district would like to enforce that through their lease, then you'll have a new resolution with new rules.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you for the discussion, Mayor.
I would like to move to amend Resolution 1327. And this is lengthy, Rochelle, so I would like Resolution 1327 to mirror and basically be a replica of 1323, 1322, and 1321, that the language is the same throughout the document.
And if I may, with the addition of the consistency of adding softball/baseball.
That's
fields.
correct.
Okay.
Thank you. No.
Oh, second. Right.
Rochelle's fast with that then.
For the amendment.
Resolution 1327. The other discussion?
I don't think we had a
Okay.
second. Did we have a
Call for
second?
the vote.
Okay.
Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Okay. 1327. So, motion,
Move to approve Resolution 1327 as amended.
Second.
Councilman Carr.
Yes.
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 Yes. Mayor, I move to approve on the first reading ordinance 2024-6.
Second? I do have just a comment really quick. I think that I would draw attention to Councilwoman White's Facebook page where she goes into pretty good detail. Thank you for doing that. Just a really nice, quick explanation for what the mill levy is in layman's terms. It's like, oh, it was really well written. I would encourage constituents to go and read it and get a good grasp of it. So thank you for doing that.
Deal. Thank you.
Mayor, I would just make a comment too, a little editorializing, but it's, this feels very consistent, right? This is housekeeping for us. We do this every year, but it's during a time of intense discussion about the role of property taxes in our state. And so I just want to draw attention that this emphasizes that crucial dependency that we have at the local level on these property taxes to fund our street repairs, our potholes, our talented staff, our police department. So I think we'd hope that was taken under consideration as property tax discussions happen throughout the state. Thanks, Mayor.
Yes.
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 Someone would like to talk on this matter, what we talked about.
Hi, my name is Helen Wilson, Wind River Visitors Council. Thank you for having me here tonight. So I did send everybody a letter explaining what we're trying to do. We have had a joint powers agreement since 1989, and it needs some changes. And the two big changes that we are discussing are, number one, our budget approval process. We currently have a unanimous budget approval process where each of the municipalities needs to approve it before it goes into effect. This year, because of the delays in that approval, we lost $27,291 in state co-op funds. And I recently found out that those co-op funds are worth $260 for every dollar spent as far as a return on investment. So the community in Wind River Country lost an estimated $7,095,660 to local businesses. And so this process, we're really asking for help. Last year, we submitted our budget on April 7th. It's not due to the municipalities until May 10th. It got approved 2 days before the budget, before the final deadline for the budget approval. The other change we're trying to make or hoping to make is clarify our budget amendment process. It's not specified in our joint powers agreement currently. And last year it caused some back and forth and everybody was seeing it a different way. And do we need to go to the municipalities or don't we need to go? And we would really like to clarify that. To amend the joint powers budget, and this is where it gets tricky, we need approval from each of the municipalities and the county commissioners. We did speak, I say we as in myself and our board president, Owen Sweeney, who's also one of the Lander representatives. We spoke at the Riverton City Council meeting last week, and they didn't take any votes. They did not seem in favor of adopting the amendment the way it's written. The council understood our challenges and seemed open to working with us on a solution. And that's what we're really trying to do, is start the conversation and figure out how we move forward with this. And it was suggested actually by Mike Bailey, councilman there, that we submit the budget earlier So he used April 1st as an example. And then require that the governing bodies approve it by May 1st. And if we don't hear from the governing bodies, then it just automatically gets approved without further action. I should specify that we are the only county in the whole state that does things this way. In the other counties, the 2 representatives from each community take the vote at the board meeting, and then it's done. They're the voice for that community. The way that ours works is it goes to a budget committee. Well, I write it up, goes to a budget committee. We have a lot of back and forth. It then goes to our board of directors, and then it goes to Du Bois, Lander, Riverton, Hudson, Shoshone, and the county commissioners. And if one person doesn't, well, one group doesn't approve it, then we can't spend any money the following year. And last year it was stressful. It was June 27th when it finally got approved. We have until the end of June, and we're looking for help. And I realize that the Lander City Council can't just help us and make this approved for everybody. But what we're trying to do is work with the municipalities. We have been working with FCAG so that we would have representatives from each community present. And now we've gotten to the point where we are approaching everybody. The other thing that we had was that, and this was something that we had written into our the joint powers amendment, is that the FCAG could approve the budget amendments. That was not something that Riverton was in favor of. Not asking for any approvals tonight. I was hoping, that we would be asking for that, but we aren't, and we still have 4 other groups to discuss this with. So let me know if you have questions or thoughts or how we can best move this forward so that our TAD money isn't affected, so that we get those state co-op funds. I think I know that the Wind River Visitors Council has been 100% transparent with all of our spending, and we do work really well with the cities and the towns and the county commissioners. So I'm hoping we can come up with a solution to this. Yes.
Yes, thank you for that too. So the loss of the $27,291 last year, which equated out to 7 million.
That's the return, because it's marketing money, and that's the number. It's $260 for every dollar invested, according to the Wyoming Office of Tourism, which is where those state funds come
Yeah.
from.
Okay, so was that due to the deadline for the budget being too late in the year, or what caused that?
That's a great question. So in the spring, actually a couple of times a year, we get emails from the marketing agencies that work with the state of Wyoming saying, these are our current co-ops. And I had the email ready to go saying, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to do. But legally, I am not allowed to agree to anything until we have that approval. The morning after we got it approved, I hit send on that pre-written email, and they said state funds were used up 2 weeks ago. So it's whenever they're used up, and we're in and I don't want to say competition, but all of the other lodging tax boards in the state, and there's 27 of them, are also trying to use those funds. And they don't have the strict, not even strict, but the long process that we do. A concern came up in Riverton that we would be leaving people out. I am still planning on going to city council meetings, town council meetings, talking to people. I am not trying to stop that process. We are not trying to be lazy. We are just trying to protect funds and make sure we have as much money as we can for our community and marketing.
Understand that. So if you was to change the MOU and get it where you had a majority of the entities, would that be by population wise, or is that just Hudson's one, Shoshone's one? And so theoretically, you could get Hudson's.
We don't, currently Pavilion is not part of the joint powers agreement. And that was another concern that came up in Riverton, that if you actually add the number of people in each municipality, then we could have less than half, if you can get really crazy with the math. But right now it's, Lander would approve the budget and maybe one or two people don't vote in favor of it, but Lander's one vote, Shoshone, Hudson.
Okay.
And that's the way it's currently written from 1989.
It sounds like we definitely need to make a change though. Make that, so we don't end up on the short end of the stick.
I agree. And I think that part of the challenge is we just don't know what direction to go from here because, we did get feedback from Riverton. We're presenting that feedback here. I think the next group I'm speaking to is Hudson. We can keep collecting feedback, but I can see that this could take years, decades. But we're trying. I was just so disappointed that we didn't get that funding last year. And then just the stress that everybody is in, all of the people who receive that TAD money, it can't be guaranteed until we get those approvals. And that was, I thought that, and I would love to hear thoughts if people have them on Mike Bailey's solution of April 1st to May 1st. If you don't give an answer, it's done. And then we can spend that money.
Why couldn't we use some of the half-cent money? This is economic development. Is that something?
I'm not sure how it would work. This is the lodging tax money. And I just don't know. And I just don't know. And I don't know if that money can be used for state co-ops either, because there's the 27 lodging. I'm sure there's rules, but I can find out.
And I like the early idea of the, let's have the budget by April 1st and be ready to vote by May 1st. And, we're either there or we're not. It's up to us.
Yeah, and what I'm realizing is we didn't really have something set up for the amendment either. I think we got so into the conversation about the first discussion in Riverton, and I'm wondering, they were not in favor of having it go to FCAG. Sometime, and this is where the issue came up last year, is we received $300,000 from the state in destination development funding. And one of the municipalities was not happy that we hadn't taken that to each of the municipalities to get it approved before we accepted that $300,000. And we only had 2 weeks to accept it. So realistically, we don't have time because everybody's got their meetings on Tuesday or Wednesday to go to each municipality. If we submitted to the city council by email and just said, here's, we've been offered $300,000, can we amend the budget? Is that turnaround too tight to do 2 weeks? If that's our rule with the state.
Thank you, Mayor. So Helen, just to clarify, you mentioned earlier that if municipal or one of the governing bodies did not approve the budget by May 1st as a suggestion, do you mean they couldn't come to resolution with the Visitors Council? I'm trying to figure out where's the balance of power in that? Is it trying to put an onus on them to figure out the questions and come to resolution prior to that? So the impetus is on that governing body to get involved, make suggestions. But if the Visitors Council says, thank you for that suggestion, that doesn't work for us, by May 1, it would still be passed. Is that?
I don't think that, I think it was more that the way that Mike was stating it was that it puts a timeline on them. Where it doesn't drag it out. And we will listen to everybody as we always have. We typically don't have changes And that was the thing with last year. We submitted it on April 7th. It wasn't approved until June 27th, and there wasn't one change to it. It was exactly the same as when we first submitted it. And this is the challenge and the frustrations that we have with the budget approval process.
Okay, thank you for that. And so there's six entities that vote because Pavilion's not there. So I wonder if it would increase the overall comfort for folks instead of 2/3 majority, if it has to be, 5 of the 6 entities. I know there was concerns about, I guess, kind of along those population lines or, bigger communities saying, yes, we like this, and smaller communities saying, hey, there's not enough here to tout our communities. We want more going on, and feeling roughshod by larger communities. So I wonder if instead of 4 of 6, if 5 of 6, or if Pavilion becomes part of it since they are a member of FCAG, 5 of 7. And then, so that's in terms of budget approval. And then I would think about when you come with suggestions for budget amendments, thinking about plans that address the potential short turnaround time that you have and or using a dollar threshold for when it needs to go through whatever process. If it's changing 10,000 from this line item to that one, to a different one, is that substantive enough change to go through that? If it's over a certain price point, then maybe it is something that needs to be done. So those are things I would suggest as you look at potential amendments to it.
Right.
Mayor, a comment. Thanks, Helen, for all the information. I think, for the purposes that you're gathering information and trying to craft a solution here, I think where I would stand is in an earlier submission to us and a deadline for us to be accountable to act by. The month feels to me like, April 1st, May 1st may be a little tight. We can always hold a special meeting. And that's something I would be open for us to do, but otherwise I would just be one regular session. So maybe it's, April 1st to May 15th, with a nudge, maybe in the language that like special meetings might be necessary for budget approval here. But I'm less easy with the idea of moving from unanimous consent to a majority, even a supermajority. I think that opens up a different can of worms than answering the procedural timeline problem that we're looking at. So that's my 2 cents.
Were we the ones dragging our feet last year?
No, you were not. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for not being dragging. Well, thank you for not dragging your feet.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, on this particular topic, you have 2 options. You can make a motion to table it. And if you do, it'll be tabled to the next voting meeting. If that is not enough time, then I would recommend that you take no action on this. It dies and you would have to bring it back on another agenda with new information.
So, sorry, Adam, could you explain a little more what taking no action is?
There's no motion made on
Okay,
it.
got it. So when there's the mayor calls for there's just silence. Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, I move approval of resolution 1326 to authorize a replacement of the Little League bleachers at City Park.
Second.
Hunter, you're up.
So we've assessed the fact that the Little League bleachers are in dire need of ADA, and some upgrades on their own as well too. So, the resolution is to apply for some Fremont County Rec Board funding to help subsidize the replacement of those bleachers.
Yeah, so is that the $10,000 that was already spent for bleachers that was in the disbursements for this month?
I can't answer that exactly. Do you know the answer to that? Okay.
That $10,000 was to retrofit the baseball or retrofit some bleachers for ADA. And that's separate from the replacement of these bleachers.
Okay, so it's not one and the same thing. Okay,
More bleachers everywhere.
It's the Legion Field.
okay.
And that grant is, or that application is due on the 15th, is that correct?
Yeah, having just read that, looks like so.
It's coming up.
Yes.
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 So moved.
Second. A motion by Scott, second by Councilman Collins. Discussion, Captain? Yeah, I have one or two on.
Yes, sir. The plan is, long-term plan is, as all of you know, Chief Peters has done amazing work to get us up to snuff on equipment. We currently have what you would maybe consider a spare. And the crucial of having spares is when the officers' vehicles go down and need repairs, we put them into a spare. Our two right now that are spares probably wouldn't be trusted to Hudson in an emergency situation. This is the first step to a vehicle plan with 4 from here moving forward. It would be 2 to get them traded out. With the lower miles, we can sell them to smaller agencies that can't afford to buy patrol cars. Long-term, that would give them something reliable, and it would save us a lot of money as we replace the much-needed patrol cars that we have.
What are the old ones worth?
$500. To be quite frank with you, sir, I think we have one, old Crown Vic that is being jockeyed for by Judge McKee and Sean McRae. So I think it's more they're just attached to the old Crown Vic. The other one that is pseudo a spare is one that I use intermittently, is an old Ford Expedition that I'm certain the front end's gonna fall out from under at some point.
Just,
To answer your question, I think long-term, as far as what are they worth, buying these 4 right now will replace 2 of the officers that have older vehicles that will then become spares, more reliable. Over time, we will be able to sell these at 40 to 50,000 miles on them, where they still have a touch of warranty for half the price that we bought them for. So moving forward, every time we buy, we're only paying half price for brand new ones is the objective behind it.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, just, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, more a comment, both to you and Chief Peters and other city staff, at the appreciation that this kind of thought has been built into the system now. And you just highlighted what the benefit of that is. So a vote of appreciation for being forward thinking about how to best manage a fleet so that police has appropriate support for doing the job they do.
Thanks.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And just by way of budget, where does this 165,000, does this come out of general fund? Where is this?
It does come out of the general fund. We funded that equipment maintenance fund. We've been funding it. So the particular line item is over, but we have plenty of money in that equipment maintenance fund that will be a transfer in to pay for these.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, because the line item would be over. And
The particular line item would be, but we have, I think, $1.4 million in the equipment maintenance fund saved from prior years. We're still in surplus this year, so I expect money to go towards that equipment fund because Lance does have a plan out there for the other vehicles.
Okay. Do you know by chance, and this is not a fair question, what we are in surplus at this time of year?
$647,000. Last, as of, well, I just reconciled through,
I know.
that was through January.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
So moved?
Second. Thank you, Mayor. This is the most transparent way to have the council encumber this land, if that's what you choose to do. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. I do have a couple of questions, and I apologize for missing the meeting. However, operator, we talked about this briefly. Has there been somebody to step up to operate this prior to, we haven't received the funding or the loan from the bank yet, is that correct? That's correct. An operator. Okay. The bank is waiting for two things. They're waiting for the lease, which you guys have already approved and the board has already approved. And there's been a couple amendments that Adam made. They're also waiting for a bank qualified letter, and that has to come through a legal counsel who we've engaged, we being the Housing Authority has engaged, but we don't have that letter yet. So that is what will finalize the $10 million construction loan. The encumbrance of this land is all in that loan package. The bank is asking for the encumbrance of this land, the bank qualified letter. To your second question, we did have an operator early on. We had an operator that helped us throughout the design process. That was Better Living Services, who operates Westward Heights. They have since declined to do that. We are the only facility in the nation that they do not own. They just have an operator in there as a contractor. And, you know, upon further discussion, they've decided not to offer that service to Table Mountain Living Community. So now it is up to the Wyoming Housing or the Lander Housing Authority to go out and procure another operator.
Yeah, so if we're standing out there that far alone, what are we doing that's, why are we taking that giant step?
Which giant step?
Well,
Just clarify.
you said that we're the only one in the whole world
Oh.
that,
So for Better Services themselves, they had originally said they would help operate Table Mountain because they were already in our community. Since that time, they have retracted that because all of the rest of their facilities they own.
or
and
just the
they-
ones that they own?
Yeah, they own.
It's not every
Right.
facility in the world there.
No,
Okay.
so every facility in the world operates a lot like we hope to operate, where you have a private contractor that comes in is responsible for all your licensing and all your daily
Yeah.
care.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask just a quick question? Several years ago, I attended a meeting at the state school. Needs to be quick. Were you a part of that meeting? And they were discussing, were they talking about housing for staff? Housing for staff, but I just have to recall because I can't remember. There was also, at that time, it may have been Fetter, but it was definitely associated with Westward Heights as getting land in our community, preferably up by the state school. At that time, that was the discussion, and that they would provide some type of care for a specific population. And I cannot recall, and I don't believe it was memory care. If it's the same meeting that I'm thinking about,
it was during that whole conversation when they were remodeling the
Mhm.
Wyoming Life Resource Center to handle additional Title 25 patients
Mhm.
from Evanston. Better, to my knowledge, was not involved in that conversation because that they operate licensed facilities. They don't
Mhm.
really work in their world for caregiving for Title 25.
I also think it was part, and there's a reason I'm asking, so I'm
Okay.
just, that's not too far off. I apologize. I also believe it was for skilled nursing for veterans. There was a discussion of this for our military folks. Did I make that up?
There was a separate conversation when the state decided to put in an assisted living for veteran services. City of Lander did put in a proposal for that, but that facility went to Buffalo and they're currently open.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That answers my question. I was part of that discussion, but I couldn't quite remember. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'm really confused now. So originally the people that came and talked to us had said that they were gonna own the thing, they were gonna run the thing, and we didn't have to worry about anything. So now they're out of the picture. And so does that mean we're looking for another owner? Operator?
Operator, yeah. So
Okay.
I'll see if I can use the right words to describe that. This council authorized the Housing Authority to build and operate an assisted living memory care facility. At the time, it was going to be city-owned, operated by the Housing Authority, who would hire a management company. Since that time, all these things have changed for financing, grants, all those kinds of things. The current request in front of you from the Housing Authority was, well, if you let us own the building, we're more likely to get financing. So we want this long-term encumbrance on the land and we want the long-term lease. So now it's a it's a Housing Authority owned property on city-owned land, still managed by a third party.
And as of, I believe the last time I asked this question, is the city liable if there's problems with this facility? Does the city have to back that facility?
Okay, I'll answer that as best I can, and I might have to have Adam jump in on this. With the long-term lease on the land, the very worst case scenario, if everything fell apart and the Housing Authority and the building went under, the most liability the city would have was the $245,000 on the land that this would encumber. Okay, the Housing Authority is on the hook for everything else. Is that correct?
They could potentially foreclose on the land because we're encumbering it. So if they did foreclose or non-payment, then they would take the land. So
worst
our
case-
investment is 240 something thousand of land.
All right.
And then the other thing about that is the long-term lease is written such that there is 180 days for both the city and the Housing Authority to determine what happens in a foreclosure, right? So there's a 180-day negotiation period for, now is it city-owned? Now is it owned by a nonprofit? You know, there's a 6-month leeway in there for what would happen.
Okay, thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thanks.
Yes.
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 Yep. Voting for land, voting delegate, for land. Meeting. I volunteer to do it in this. All this made is just to stay in it for a longer time on Fridays.
Yep. Sounds like a great plan.
The only question I had is you had to ask me as well.
I did actually.
Oh, you said Missy.
Did I say Missy?
You did.
Oh, I meant Melinda.
Okay, I just, I was like, okay, which is also fine. I just wanted to clarify.
No, I asked.
Okay.
It's the other end.
The 2 days of the dance.
That could be.
Interrupt. Make sure. My meeting, you can break down. That sounds good. Okay, motion.
Move to approve mayor as primary delegate with Council President Cox as alternate delegate.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White.
Yes.
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 We had a chat that you are very hard to hear, so you'll make sure you're right. You need the longer one. Yeah.
There you go. All right, moving on to item G, authorize mayor to sign an annual 2024-26 general service contract with 31 vendors that met the requirements of the RFP. That's where we send it out, have contractors put in. Can I get a motion in a second? We'll have a discussion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman White, and Ray Jean, you're up.
And Regine. So where are we at?
We know who you're talking about. Mike. Oh, I was giving Dan.
We talked about this at the work session. The way these contracts are written, the engineering contract has different requirements than the general contracting vendors and tradesmen. So there are two separate contracts that were templates that were used in the last round of this in your Dropbox. Lance has been over those. Adam's been over those. So if you approve this agenda item, we will be able to go to each individual firm, make this template their own, and sign all of these contracts for the next 3 years worth of general services.
Discussion. None? Call for the question. Councilman Jay Han.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, item H. Approved county subdivision CS 24.01 invert subdivision. I get a motion in a second, and we'll have discussion.
So moved.
Motion, I get a second.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Cox, second by Councilman Larson. Regine, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. We still review county subdivisions within 1 mile of the city. The only reason I mention that for this one is sometimes it makes a difference. You guys adopted a 2020 transportation plan. That 2020 transportation plan said that Lander may have future roads outside of the city limits that connect to other main arterial streets. So in the west side of this subdivision, they had a 20-foot easement for utilities. The city, after our review, requested that that be a 30-foot wide easement to accommodate one of those future roads, and the landowner was happy to accommodate that. So the Planning Commission recommends approval of this county plat, noting that that 30-foot easement on the west side of this property fits our 2024 master plan for a future transportation route.
Any discussion? And President, call for the question. Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Move to item I. Approval of 2024 utility write-offs for non-payments. And a motion in a second. I'll have discussion. I get a motion.
Move to approve.
I get a second.
Second.
That motion by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Cox. Shari, you're up.
This is cleaning up our accounts receivable. We bring in about $4.3 million a year in the enterprise fund. This is over a 5-year period. None of these are property owners currently, because what we can do, if you have an outstanding balance with us now, even if your water's turned off, we have a lien against your property. These are property owners that have sold their house, moved on, and most of these, 90% of these were their final bill and they just didn't pay their final bill. I'm hoping that with our new meter system, when we do a final read at the time they're telling us, we're handing them a bill and collecting that payment at that time. We don't have that convenience right now. The other thing that happens, we tried putting these through collections. Collections has not been successful. I think that's kind of a dying industry. We've tried working with the title companies, asking them, can you call us, ask us if anybody has any outstanding bills so we can be paid that way at the sale of the house. There's one in Riverton that will call us, but the others do not call us. But so for a 5-year period where we would be writing off about $3,300.
Okay, Missy?
Just want to clarify. So you're saying these, whatever, dozen or so are 5 years of non-payment? Oh, that's not bad. And then you also said we take in 4.3 million over 5 years. So this is really
Our collections are great. And actually, when the auditors come and they look at our collections, we do well in collecting what we send out every month. But these oddball ones that just leave us on their last bill are the ones that we have to work on trying to collect from.
yeah. I mean, that seems like a pretty remarkable payment system to have this little out of 4.3 million.
Considering Casper just wrote off $700,000 worth of water bills.
Ouch.
Okay, any other discussion? I'll call for the question, Councilman Jay Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item J, authorize the mayor to sign a renewal lease.
Can I,
Land-
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to interrupt you. I got the vote, but I didn't hear a motion in a second.
It was there.
It was there.
Okay.
It was John and Melinda.
Getting picky.
So we'll move on to item J now. Just tell me to slow down. Can I get a motion in a second? I'll sign the lease agreement with this renewal lease agreement for the Landers. I get a second?
Second.
A motion by Councilman Hahn, second by Councilwoman Stubble. I think you're up again, Reggie.
Thank you, Mayor. This agreement was up for renewal this year unless we had an automatic 2-year rollover renewal. The only thing that we asked was that item 4 was changed to match all of our other current lease agreements for city snow plowing on city lands, where we go and we plow the museum lands, we plow the senior center. So we added that language so that it would be consistent through all of our lease agreements. And the senior center has discussed this and agreed on this. They will have their vote tomorrow on this agreement that's in front of you.
Missy?
I thought we did not plow all of city leased property.
That's why we're trying to make this consistent. So the museum, the new museum grounds, not new grounds, but that new agreement, we have the same language in that museum agreement. So we wanted to put it in the senior agreement. The senior center is one that we have been plowing
Right.
a lot.
Okay.
So-
So is this a shift that we will start plowing all?
No, but when
Okay.
we do, we want to codify it in our agreements. Rather than just saying, you do theirs and not ours. So we're trying to codify it in all of our agreements where we do it.
So
Okay.
Are we plowing or not?
We plow
Yes.
the senior center lot currently, and we will plow it in the future.
Okay, so we'll do the same thing here for the.
Correct.
museum.
All we're doing is adding consistent language throughout our other agreements.
Okay. Questions, discussion? All for the question, Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, move to item K. Authorize approval of and authorize the mayor to sign Guardian flight lease agreement. Need a motion a second?
Mayor, I move approval to authorize you to sign the Guardian Flight Lease Agreement.
Need a second?
Second.
A motion by Council Stubble, second by Councilwoman Cox. Hunter, you're up.
Thank you. So Guardian had fallen out of lease due to us not having a current agreement with them. We renegotiated and came to a conclusion of a multiplier of almost 6 of adding to their lease agreement to getting them more with current market value for rental space, and they were happy to do so. They kind of countered with wanting to make it a 5-year lease with that too. So I feel like it's a good deal for the city, having Life Flight there and having them be able to anchor in home for 5 years here. And I feel like getting a quite a bit more of a rent out of it and then being happy with it was a win for us.
Okay, questions or discussion? Call for the question. Councilman Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, moving on to item L. Authorize the mayor to sign an agreement for services with Ayers and Associates to produce the 2024 master plan. Can I get a motion in a second? Go to discussion.
So move.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
A motion by Councilman Cox, second by Councilman Stubble. Regine, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We did discuss this at a work session. This is an agreement for professional services that's presented by Ayers and Associates. Adam has looked at this agreement and they've agreed to all of our changes. And unless you have any other questions, we'd be ready for a determination.
Just a comment.
Go ahead, Councilman.
I believe that you stated that this was the only company to put in a bid for this. And, boy, I just struggle, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's equipment or bids or whatever else, we struggle to get more than one bid. Is there anything that we can do to change that, to make this stuff more attractive to where you have a little bit of competition on the bids?
I do have one comment or idea on that. Perhaps the reason this happens to us is because we sign these general services agreements. And so we're out with 12 different firms, you know, and so they already have a 3-year contract with us. We can go to someone and say, we'd like you to do a task order. When those task orders are over $75,000, we have to go out for bid. They're already busy with us. I had 2 or 3 firms call and ask what it was about, and they went like, yeah, we can't bet that by December because we're already designing Lincoln Street, you know, so those are the kinds of comments that I heard. I don't want to say we shot ourselves in the foot, but anything over $75,000, we're going to have to go through this process. Like I mentioned in the work session, we did do our due diligence. We interviewed them and we would have rejected their bid had we not thought that they were capable of doing this.
Other questions?
I just have a
Go
budgeting question. Sometimes these questions are loaded, I guess, to a certain degree, but their bid is $130,000. There is a you pick it line item. I'm not sure I like that language. I see it's on, I should tell you, section 9.
That was taken out. No.
It says a budget breakdown for the primary project elements.
Yeah, if that you pick it is still in there, then I put the wrong one in your packet or the right one in the Dropbox, because that's one of the things that we removed.
Okay, it is interesting because it's not within so it says master plan and it breaks that down 52,000, housing needs 15. It doesn't have you pick it in the actual. I just can't wrap my head around that language in a formal professional city government that would even be.
Right. So we
Wow.
offered them 2 things. We said, you know, we don't even know what this is. Adam, none of us knew what that was. They said that some of their municipalities are signing this. I said, well, the way we've done it before is if the city of Lander changes the scope on you, we will have all overages approved by change order according to your fee schedule in this agreement. That's how we write it. They just wanted us to put give us a 10% overage account. And I said, no, we're going back to council every time we change the scope. So that's why we deleted that item. So this is a contract for $150,500. The you pick it is not supposed to be in there if it's still in there.
Well, I would question the 150,500 because according to this, yeah.
I said
Okay.
that off the top of my head too, so 130.
Right. It says the primary project elements is 130,000. And then if they're anticipating a 10% on change order, which of course, you know, is my favorite thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you love change orders. Yeah.
Um, I just am concerned that this budget
Can you add this up?
doesn't, it's not an accurate account of what their intention is.
Allow us to do some quick math here on this contract I have in front of me. I know.
And I'm looking at the report. This is it's on page 80. It's on page 84.
Yep. The second paragraph.
Mhm.
And this is in the council packet.
He's on the line. He's
Oh, there
got
we go.
his hand raised.
Yeah, you could recognize Josh Alhava with Ayers Associates.
Hi, Mayor, council members, and thank you, Regine. So what I want to clarify is on that page 84. So yes, we removed the U picket line item. What that is kind of like a contingency line item that some communities like to have for if something crops up and they want to address something, then they have that, but it's only at their discretion. So that's been removed. It's just in the text of the original scope document, but not in the contract. So that's not in there. When you see the 130,000, that is for those 5 primary bullets, the master plan, housing needs snapshot, economic analysis snapshot, zoning assessment, and parks and recreation plan. So all 5 of those elements. The city staff did also mention 2 other specialty studies, an airport best practices memo and a cemetery best practices memo. And that's where you get the additional 20,500 based on those 13,000, 7,500 for those studies. So that's where you get up to that 150,500 in the contract is for all 7 of those individual items.
If helpful, Councilwoman, I look at page 96, which is attachment C to the agreement. And that's where that's detailed what Josh just laid out.
Yeah, and just for council's information, when we were awarded the project, then we worked with staff on kind of the refined scope and getting the exact needs that the exact things that you all needed and wanted from the city. And so then we put together this revised scoping memo, and then we went back and forth and adjusted things a little bit further. So that's where there might have been a couple of those stray comments in the scope memo. So apologize for that. But the contract is fully accurate based on all of staff's direction and guidance.
Okay,
Mayor, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
On a different topic?
Yes.
Do we need to continue on this one? Are you comfortable with the numbers? Okay, great.
Yes and no.
Do you want to continue on? the
But
topic?
no,
And then I'll move?
I'm good.
Thanks, Mayor. So question, one for Regina, one for you, Josh, since we have you online. Regina, have we worked with heirs on any other similar plans or efforts, planning efforts?
We have not. The mayor and I have attended many of their local planning efforts that they've done for other entities like the Sinks Canyon. So, yeah, and Riverton, so.
Great, thank you. And Mayor, follow up if I could, I thought
ahead.
that was a familiar name for Sinks Canyon. Josh, can you provide an example of another Wyoming, hopefully municipality where you've done a similar master planning effort?
Yeah, we're currently underway in the city of Douglas doing their master plan, comprehensive plan update. And so that one is kind of in the middle of the process. We've also done the Riverton strategic plan a few years ago. And then we also do a number of brownfield projects throughout the state and code projects. So as well as downtown Main Street projects. So we've been pretty involved with a variety of different projects throughout the state. And our local office there in Wyoming is in Cheyenne.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna call for the question. Councilman Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. So, moving on to that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, I move adjournment.
Yes,
I'll
second.
second.
Motion by Councilwoman Stubble, second by Councilwoman White, to adjourn Meeting, call for the question, Councilman Jay Han?
Yes.
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 Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
You might have went.